guys, in this video we are going to be featuring this Doyle Lawson Signature Mandolin from Gibson. Very excited to have this instrument here. We're going to talk about the specs. We're going to tell you if it's something that you need to have, who it's for, some of the details about the instrument, and then we're going to let you hear what it sounds like. Hey John, we are back at the Acoustic Shoppe channel to talk about this really cool instrument from Gibson. It is a Doyle Lawson Signature Mandolin.
Yeah.
Guys, before we get into it, if you want to hear this, we have a separate video that has a complete song, and you'll get to hear the mandolin as it sounds in the wild.
There was a girl from the North Country. It might have been wild in the North Country. I don't know.
Yes, I don't know. You'll have to watch the video to find out for sure. But we'll also have tone samples at the end of this video and a full performance, like I said, included. And that's all in the description below.
Yep.
If you guys haven't already done that, please like and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have new viewers and to talk to some of the people that have been with us for a while now.
Yeah.
So we'll jump right into this, talking about this really cool instrument from Gibson and the fact that it may not be available anytime soon.
Yeah, this is kind of a unique perspective
Maybe
here.
the last of its kind.
This might be the last Doyle Lawson built. In fact, we'll have to check with that and see if that is. Anyway, let's talk about Doyle Lawson. There has been a guy who, yes, the person who has been impacting the bluegrass world.
He is like a fertile field where you plant numerous seeds and all kinds of bands sprout out of it.
This is weird.
Honestly, if you can name a top band in bluegrass music, most of the members went through the Doyle Lawson School of music. Or at least were
influenced by him. Doyle got going quite a long time ago. We have a great video where we got to interview him. He was in
check that out as well.
Ozark Music Shop. You can check that out. But it's really cool. He has been around for a long time, starting a lot of days with Jimmy Martin back in the day, into J.D. Crowe, worked with Tony Rice and all that bunch. Then started the Country Gentlemen, a bunch of stuff with those guys. Worked out some really cool things with vocals. Everybody in the bluegrass industry and bands especially that have anything to do with vocals and vocal groups have gone through the Doyle Lawson School of Music. Either way, then we kind of fast forward into the late 90s, early 2000s. Gibson was working with a lot of artists.
They went through a section when they opened the factory in Nashville, Tennessee, when they were doing their building there. They brought in some of they kind of wanted to resurrect the bluegrass passion for Gibson mandolins, which had kind of waned in a while. They had some hits and misses of mandolins during the 70s, and so they were wanting to bring that back, 70s and 80s. And then they had Danny Roberts was one of the head guys they had come back in, and one of his tasks was getting bluegrass artists playing them again, and also having models based on artists' specs. So they had the Alan Bybee model. Obviously, Sam Bush is one of the ones I play. Doyle Lawson was one of the mandolins. A number of signature models out there.
Benson had a model.
Wayne Benson, and Alan Bybee. I said Alan, didn't I? Yeah, Alan Bybee. But Doyle Lawson was a really cool one I liked a lot because Doyle had some specs that he brought to the instrument. And
very unique visually.
Yeah.
This is what I think was the first one. And the big impactful one was these F-holes. This is probably
bound F-holes, which is a really cool idea. It makes them stand out really nice. It also does something that we did a review on the Gold Rush and the Cremona Rush, and one of the things they brought to that mandolin was the smaller sized F-holes, which these were probably standard size F-holes until you bind them, and then that makes them a smaller size. And we noticed that brings a little bit more of the clarity and mid-range tone to the mandolin. It did on that, on the Cremona mandolin and the Gold Rush, and I felt that same thing in the Doyle Lawson as well.
Why don't you tell everybody, kind of run through the spec list of what makes up a Doyle Lawson Gibson mandolin?
I will do that right after I first say, this one we put on order when we first became dealers with Gibson mandolin back in 2020. Perfect year to sign up with them. So we put this on order, finally got it delivered in 2023 now. 23. And somewhere in the middle of 2022, they said, anything you have on the books, we're going to finish building that, but we're not taking any more orders. And one of the reasons is with the new reshuffling of Gibson, they're going back through and they started with electric guitars and worked their way. Finally, mandolins got to the end of the line, but now they're doing the mandolin division and they're simplifying it a little bit. And currently in 2023, there will only be 2 models available, and you can only get those 2 models. And eventually, they're going to start to reintroduce some other options there and some build to spec orders that you can do. But right now, as far as the future goes, there may not be another Doyle Lawson Signature model, and this could be the last one, unless things change there at the mandolin division. So that's a little. We're doing this video, but you probably can't get this mandolin because, by the way, it's already sold.
Yeah. So, Jer, why don't you tell the folks about the specs of what makes a Doyle Lawson Gibson mandolin?
Okay, back to that. So yeah, this is an F-style mandolin, of course. It has a flame maple back and sides, just beautiful maple used on this, bound on the front and back with this ebony or ivory binding, as well as the F-holes, fretboard, and headstock. It has a floral headstock inlay, which is a very cool inlay pattern that Doyle selected.
Really, really nice.
I really like the design of that. It has the pearl truss rod cover sign with the Doyle Lawson signature in there, as well as the Doyle Lawson signature etched into the tailpiece cover. So really cool things there, and as well as I believe does it have the Doyle Lawson signature label? No, it does not. I think at one time they did have the Doyle Lawson signature label. This does not have that anymore. But so those are
send it back.
Yep,
send it back.
There you go. This does have a bound ebony radius fretboard, as I mentioned, and a single action truss rod. So it has obviously a spruce top on this one with this really good-looking red burst on there, so kind of unique burst.
This is that Cremona burst, actually.
Cremona, but with a little bit more red to it, doesn't it? I thought the Cremona's a little more brownish.
They list it as a Cremona burst.
Oh, they don't know what they're talking about. To me, it feels a little more red than the standard Cremona. They have a little bit more brownish color, I thought, to it.
Maybe.
But anyway, Gibson, guys, come on. Get your act together here. No, it is a gorgeous thing that they do list as a Cremona burst, but I think the Cremona rushes we got were a little bit more brown.
It could very well be. Here's my question for you. I love the way they did the scallop of this fretboard. Would you call that the bird's beak? Because that is different than
it's
the
kind
one.
of an exciting bird's beak. It's like it's a bigger bird's beak. I think the normal bird's beak just kind of comes to one single point.
Yeah.
This has like a double notch to
Double
it. So
scallop, yeah.
that could be, again, a Doyle Lawson. I'm sure it was when he was
designing
this out and sketching it out. That was one of his requests for it. So I'd call that the double bird's beak.
Yep.
The double.
I'll go with that. And it looks like it has the Waverly tuners with the pearl buttons on here.
The natural pearl buttons, which look gorgeous, especially the gold really works well with this. So we got the gold tailpiece, the tuners, and the knobs for the bridge. I think it just kind of classes that up and gives it that Doyle Lawson.
Even a pearl nut. Yeah. That's pretty awesome on there as well.
That's very nice. So who would this mandolin be for, John? I think, to answer my own question, obviously a fan of Doyle Lawson. Like, if you are a fan of Doyle Lawson, a collector, or just an ultimate fan of Doyle, great mandolin, but also a performer. This has a great tone to it. It is definitely a professional level mandolin that would grace any stage out there, both in appearance and tone. Playability on it's excellent. I'm blown away with the setup on it. David Harvey's been doing an excellent job at the shop, consistently sending us instruments that just sound and perform very well. Yep. So this is definitely either the performer that's out there beating up the road and wants a instrument that's just going to really inspire them to play and look good on stage.
That's one.
The collector that, there's not many of these out there, so getting a signature model Doyle Lawson instrument is something great to have in your collection.
Number three,
the ultimate Doyle Lawson fan.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah,
if you're a fan of Doyle Lawson, why would you not own it?
And especially now, again, 2023, officially retired from the road, not touring anymore. So, golly, what a cool thing to have.
It's a trifecta. If you are the performing musician who's also a collector and loves Doyle Lawson, this is the mandolin for you. Unfortunately, you cannot order any more of them.
And you can't even have one, because that almost fits you exactly.
All those three things fit me, so except for the collector thing. I can't really collect them. I've got like 3 mandolins, so. But this could be a great thing to start my collection.
That's right. Sound-wise, we kind of talked about it already. This is a very clear-sounding mandolin with a special woody mid-range that's just unique and different.
I've told this story probably too many times, but when I first picked out my Sandbush model, I didn't look for the most muddy, deep, woody tone. That's the tone that I ultimately want. Muddy. Never. The deeper, woody, choppy tone. Thick. Yeah, basically bass heavy.
Thicc.
I didn't look for you can get some mandolins that are really bass heavy to start with, but I had played some of those in the past that 3 or 4 years later they get muddy, where they just the low end almost becomes overpowering when it loosens up and the wood gets kind of into its own. Had to do it. Had to do
Okay,
it.
never mind.
But yeah, it still has that, very percussive, very clear notes to it. But the chop is not lacking at all. Like it's got a lot of drive to the, and you can tell if you play
agree.
this thing for a good 6 8 months, that's just going to open up.
gonna
and
only
just-
get better.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
definitely the tone I'm looking for in a mandolin. It's got to be really balanced. All the notes all the way up to
I
the
love
end.
this raving review of a mandolin nobody can own. There you go. Good job, Jared.
It's great to. We're passionate about instruments. You're going to get a really good one. You get excited. They're an
So
excellent
since you
instrument.
can't get that one, what do you think the closest thing to this wheel? What would it compare to? I would probably guess. My guess is going to be the Cremona Rush. I would say this is probably the closest thing, even though you can't get those either. So there you go.
Yeah, so when we said that there's only 2 models available from Gibson, that's not just the Doyle Lawson that's going away. It's the F9s right now aren't slated to be there. The Cremona and Gold Rush aren't slated. The Fern is going to be a different style of Fern. So we'll be releasing more information on those as soon as it comes out. But that would probably be the closest thing to this in the Gibson line. Other mandolins, it's hard to say. Gibson has really got a high standard of quality.
sounding great
Red
right now.
Diamond's obviously a really good option out there, but price is even higher than this one prices out. There's a few really good Northfields out there, but I'm not sure
quite
model-wise
at
that they're going to be the same,
Yeah, not
same
quite
specs.
at that level, so I wouldn't think so.
So probably the closest thing that I've experienced would be the Gold Rush and the Cremona Rush.
So let's do this. Let's get a rating together. I want to kind of rate this, keeping in mind we're talking about a premium brand instrument. We're not talking about compared to the basic
305 Eastman.
305s or luxury. This is going to be compared to other instruments around its same price tag. So in that $8,000 to $12,000 to $14,000 range. What do you think? Let's start with first with a scale of 1 to 5. Tone, Jared. Where do you place in this one?
I think I jumped the shark a little already. I jumped the shark, jumped the gate. I jumped
You jumped something.
the shooting line. I don't know. I said it already. The tone I love. It's what I look for in a mandolin. That really balanced, punchy tone, and you can tell just playing it that this still feels new. But I know in 6 months this thing is going to be a monster.
I
So
agree.
tone, I would give this one a 5.
I agree with you actually on this one, a 5. There are mandolins with an even darker and deeper low end, but the bass I think is always going to come along. This is a premium sound right here, right out of the gate. So I want to go with you with a 5. Setup and playability. Where are you at on
Setup's
here?
excellent. I think I lowered the bridge a little bit from where David had it because he likes that really
likes a
strong
little bit taller.
bluegrass chop chord action. So I lowered the action a little bit. It's still currently a little higher than I have my mandolin, but it still plays very easy. I don't have to push down very much at all, and the notes, no buzzing there. A string spacing is very similar to what I have on my Sam Bush model, so I'm really a fan of the string spacing on it. I would give this one, if I was to spend a little more time with it, I would lower the action a little bit. But from how it came to us, I give it about a 4.5.
Yep, I played this beforehand too. I would agree with that. I'm going to say a 4.5 right there. So 4.5 stars.
Look at us
All
being on the same
I know.
page.
Build. I'm just copying whatever you say. I'm not a mandolin player. What do I know? Build quality. What do you
Wow.
think, Jeremy?
I can't find something that I would fault it with. Like the finish looks great. The burst on it's excellent. And then it's got things that are not easy to do. Even putting this last fret in here with that double scoop, it had to be cut and beveled all around that weird binding, which again, that can't be fun to bend that binding there and that.
I wouldn't
2
wanna
point.
do it.
So build quality, this is really kind of a chance for the folks at Gibson to show off their abilities there. I'd give this one a 5. I can't find any flaws with it the way it's built.
I'm going to just, because I feel like it, a
Gonna
4.5.
me? Okay.
I don't know why. There you go. All right, aesthetics, the looks. I'm going to jump you on this one. I absolutely give this a 5. I think this is one of the classiest looking instruments. I mean, always woods are premium here. This is always gorgeous, but I love the design.
Yeah, I agree. I think the pearl on the tuner buttons, on the truss rod cover, the nut, they just really make that headstock stand out. And then the design for that pearl inlay at the top just really, it's different enough from the standard Gibson, and it just looks really classy. I would definitely give this a 5 as well. Some people may or may not like the bound F holes. I think it kind of accentuates those on the mandolin. Looks really cool. I love the appearance of it.
Okay, our last
Well, we're
here.
giving us good score so far.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. Our next one here. Does it pass or does it not pass? This is not a star rating here. The Shoppe Sustainable check. In this case, I don't know. What do you think?
That's where we've been with Gibson. It's a hard one, and part of it is people know they've been going through a bankruptcy starting about 4 years ago.
They had issues
and
with
they got a new
sourcing woods.
management. And before that, one thing that got them in a lot of trouble in Nashville was they got raided by the government for having some illegally sourced woods or not having the papers that they needed
least
to
for
prove
that, yeah.
that. So really we're not able to get the answer of how much they're paying attention. I imagine after getting rated by the federal government, you're probably pretty on top of it from then on. I know it would scare me a little bit. So I would assume that it is, but we don't know that for sure. We're not able to confirm it. So we do plant 5 trees for each of the Gibsons that we sell.
So overall value, Jared, on a scale of 1 to 5, what do you say?
It's all where you're at in life. Like if you have the money to get one, is a Tesla worth it? I think if you got the money to get one, it probably is.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a Honda Accord, then you probably won't justify that. Same thing here. This is a premium instrument for the premium collector, road warrior, musician, or Doyle Lawson fan. I think the value is there because of the time that I know it would take to build this thing. And we're talking F-Styles already take a lot of time just to build that. And then to do all these little extra appointments has to add, if not 50s to hundreds of hours to the build. Just a lot of time added to the actual labor that is involved in it. So value for the price, I would give it I'm going to go a little lower, 4. I give it a 4 out of the 5-star, just because it is an expensive instrument.
There you go. I'm going to go with a 4.5. I think you are dead on accurate with the idea of if you are going out and you're looking for a above $10,000 instrument, you know where this needs to be. I find that this falls in everything that I would expect in that level of an instrument. So
if you can get Rhonda Vincent to sign the top of it, then definitely worth a 5.
5. There you go, right there. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get you to get a little tone sample for the folks, and then we'll come back and give our final thoughts right after that.
Well, guys, if you like this video about the Gibson mandolin from our Doyle Lawson Signature Gibson Mandolin, I think you're really going to like the one we did. We did a comparison between, it's called the Gibson versus Eastman Mandolin video. I think you're going to like that a whole bunch. It's right here in this link.
Yeah, it'll be a whole bunch of fun. So check that out. And guys, until next time, we will see you next time.
Until then, we'll see you that next
time.
Happy
See
trails
ya.
to you.
Adios. Bye.